Let's take a look at percents that are less than 1%. A percent less than 1% equals a number that is less than 1/100th or is a decimal 0 and 1/100th. As we recall, any number that goes with a percent sign after it means that number out of 100. So there can be numbers that are actually less than 1%. Remember, percent means out of 100 or per 100. Let's look at our three models. These are a couple things we already know. This first model models 40%. It means we shaded in 40 out of 100 units on this 100 unit grid. If I wanted to write that as a decimal, 40 hundredths would look like this. 40 ending in the hundredths place. I can get rid of that if I want, and it's 4/10. As a fraction in simplest form, it's 2/5. So all these numbers are represented by this first model. The second model is actually a smaller number. 4% means 4 out of 100. So I just shaded in 4 out of the 100 units in this 100 unit grid. If I were to simplify this, I'd get 1/25. 4 hundredths written as a decimal, I got to get to the hundredths place, is 0.04. All right, this is the one we're going to be focused on today. Notice this percent has a decimal in it, 0.4 hundredths. That means it's 0.4 out of 100. 0.4 means 4/10 of 100. So if I wanted to model this, it's actually a small portion of this 1/100th piece right there. Okay, how would I write this as a fraction? Well, I'm going to show you a shortcut. What you do is you take the decimal point and you move it to the left 2 places. 1, 2. Get rid of that old decimal point. Get rid of the percent sign. Add a new decimal point and 2 zeros. So our answer becomes 0 and 4 thousandths. And if you look at this model, this is modeling less than 1%. So 4 thousandths is much less than 1%. If I wanted to write this as a fraction, well, I could have written it as 4 1/1000ths. And if I simplify it, it would be 1/250ths. All right, let's take a look at the directions on how to do this. I wanted to show you what it looks like, what we're actually finding here, and now I'll show you our shortcuts, moving decimals. To change a percent into a decimal, move the decimal point 2 places to the left. So let's take a look at our 0.1%. Start at the decimal, move it 2 places to the left, put a decimal point and 2 zeros, drop the percent sign. You get 0.001. We know how to write decimals as fractions just by saying it. It means 1/1000th. 2%, start at the decimal to change it to, or start at the decimal point to change the percent to a decimal. Move the decimal point over 2 places to the left. Drop the percent sign, add your new decimal point, and you get 2 thousandths. 2 thousandths simplifies to 1/500th. Try it with 0.5. Move your decimal to the left 2 places. Add a decimal point and 2 zeros. Drop the percent sign. So you get 5 thousandths. And then you can write that as a fraction. And now I can simplify it. 5 and 1,000 are divisible by 5, so you get 1/200ths. Okay, so what we're actually doing here when we move the decimal over 2 places to the left is we're actually dividing by 100. Tenths, hundredths, tenths, hundredths, tenths, hundredths, because that's what it means up here. It means you're taking your 0.4 and dividing it by 100. All right, we can do the opposite. If I want to change a decimal into percent, I just move the decimal point 2 places to the right, the opposite way. So let's start with our decimal point. I want to change it to a percent, move the decimal 1 2 places. So it would be 0.4%. And if I want to look at that decimal, I can write it as 4 over 1,000, which is the same as 1 over 250. So all these numbers, 0.4%, 0.004, and 4 thousandths, and 1 and 250ths all have the same value. All right, the next one, 17 ten thousandths, because the 7's in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths place. Looks like that is a fraction. To get it to be a percent, I'm going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right, add my decimal, and it becomes 0.17%. So these are all fractions or percents that are less than 1%. Let's look at the other extreme now. Let's look at percents greater than 100%. A percent greater than 100% equals a number greater than 1. So I have a model here of what 170% looks like. If I shaded all 100 squares here, I would have 100% shaded in this grid. I have 70 out of 100 shaded here, so that's 70%. I put them together, and this is my model of what 170% would look like. How do I write that as a fraction? Well, anytime you have a percent sign, it's that number, 170 over 100. Now, if we look at this, we know this is improper. We can't have a numerator that's greater than a denominator. So we have to divide the numerator by the denominator in order to change that to a mixed number. So 100 goes into 170 once. And you subtract and get 70. Our remainder becomes our numerator, and the denominator stays the same. So 170 over 100 is the same as 1 in 70 hundredths. And of course, I'm going to simplify that to get 1 in 7 tenths. And then I can go ahead and write that as a decimal using my place value, 1.7. So let's take a look at our shortcut here on how to do this. To change a percent into a decimal, move the decimal point 2 places to the left. And then drop the percent sign. So if you could see a decimal, it would be right here. 150% means you move the decimal over 2 times to the left, and it becomes 1.5. As a fraction, that would be 1 in 5 tenths. And when I simplify, I get 1.5. 125%, it's greater than 100, which means I'm going to have a 1 in the 1 spot, which I get 1.25. I know that's 1 in 25 hundredths. And when I simplify, it's 1 in 1/4. I'm going to skip down to these bottom ones, 2.1. To change a decimal into a percent, move the decimal point 2 places to the right. Okay, and then I can also go ahead and write the decimal as a fraction. So I'm going to start here by doing what I know. 2.1 is the same as 2 and 1/10. So I'll write it like that, get my fraction out of the way. To write 2.1 as a percent, take the decimal, move it over 2 places to the right, add your 0 and a percent sign. So 2.1 is 210%. 6.25, move your decimal 2 places to the right, add a percent sign, get rid of that decimal that was there, and 6.25 becomes 625%. Okay, I'm going to change that into 6 and 25 hundredths, which is the same as 6 and 1/4. Look at these fractions. If I know how to write this in tenths, I could go ahead and rewrite that as 4 and 8 tenths, write it as my decimal, and again, do the same procedure. Take my decimal, move it 2 places to the right, add a percent sign and a 0. Get rid of that decimal. So 4.8 is 480%. 9 3/4 I know is the same as 9 75/100. So I'm going to write it as a decimal, 9.75, and use the same procedure. Take my decimal point, move it 2 places to the right, and add my percent sign, drop that old decimal. So 9.75 becomes 975%. So go ahead, jot down any questions you might have, and good luck with this assignment.